Okay, Sinatapi. Oh my gosh, it's 6 inches of snow on Logan Pass, and I just came in from a hike and it was raining like heck. So okay, nistu ni daniko makoyo sakoyi. It means the Milky Way or the Wolf's Trail or Medicine Trail. Is my second Blackfoot name. Roger Prairie Chicken and Charlene gave me that name in July 2017 because of a dream I had, shape-shifting from a wolf to human, human to wolf. Hey, anyway, welcome to Wellness Wednesday. I just got off the phone with Dwight Francisco, just messaging Jolene Joseph. I was just talking to Lori Newbreast. We have Native Wellness Institute is just in Montreal right now doing a men's wellness. Just finished Seattle Indian Health Board, Gona, and Bainbridge. We just finished Nancy Rios region HRSA, their 7th region Kickapoos, the Ho Chunk, the Lakota, in Kansas, and so many things going. So welcome to Wellness Wednesday. I'm in my house because it is 44 degrees out. It went from hot to to cold, and everybody's getting their firewood ready. I almost made a wood stove fire. I think I will after the power hour. But welcome to Wellness Wednesday. And we have a couple things we want to visit with you today. But first, I just want to share some good news. We just had this incredible marriage yesterday between Maori people and Scott Pipikani, one of our best psychologists, Dr. Joe Stone. And they brought 20 of their Maori friends, so they're running all over the res. Who knows? Maybe we're all going to intermarry in the New Zealand and Blackfoot Confederacy territory. Boom! We'll create a badass warrior race doing haka, is talking Blackfoot, and interchange of ceremonies. The thing that they're here because they have an award-winning television series called Native Ride, and it's about Maori people getting introduced to horses, and it shows in 120 days how they become spiritually bonded with horses. I mean, it's just like, so now they're meeting our Indian relay, they get spiritually bonded with horses, and how it's helping their people heal from fentanyl overdose, methamphetamine overdose, suicide, all those kind of things. And so they're all here running around. They probably like, it's cold. It's not like this. We told them, wait till it snows 30 feet. Our, let's see, their meters too. Like, wait till it snows 50 meters. And you fall in a hole and you can't climb out because you got the wrong kind of shoes on. And anyway, Maoris, they either go barefoot or they wear hokas, you know. No, they do wear cowboy boots when they're riding their horses. But welcome to Wellness Wednesday. You know, it's just a beautiful time. So I'll just speak a little bit about that marriage. Joe Stone is Scott Pipikani and all of his relatives. He's allied with the Charlene Burns family. He's allied with the Wren family. But he kept his original allotment. There's just a few Blackfeet below Ninastico, our giant Chief Mountain, the oldest piece of geological rock on this continent. Right below Chief, we had several of our members who had 400 acres or so, and they kept, so Joe has his original allotment. And we know this because in 2012, at that time, some of our leaders were allying with oil companies, and they were going to frack Chief Mountain. Can you believe that? Oh my God, can't do that. That's a no-no. You cannot be greedy. Gosh darn it, I swear that, if anything, I could just, those that are just so damn greedy, stop being greedy. But they tried to frack our mountain. And so there was an alliance of every Scapi Picani along Chief Mountain to ally to never sell their land and to never allow oil companies to come and frack. And Joe Stone was one of those. But Joe Stone, he's interesting because him and Dr. Deb Pace, they went to psychological school together and became therapists. And there was, just all Debbie and not Debbie, Dan and Becky Foster. There was just several Indians that all went to school and became therapists and came back home to do healing. So Dr. Deb Pace is one of those in the Alberta area. She can testify in courts to keep our children and give assessments. And then Joe Stone worked in many places, but he went to New Zealand to work. And this is like one of those, it's like, not like Romeo and Juliet, but this is like a love story. It's like he met Amber, and yesterday I was talking with her, and Amber and him met in Seattle at a psychological conference, and she is one of those geniuses, skilled, does all of the brain analysis. Her PhD is in brain chemistry and brain healing. Isn't that badass? Imagine you say, who are you? Well, I specialize in brains. And some people have it, or some people go to the fountain of wisdom and they just gargle. Some people drink it, but some just gargle it. Anyway, she's the brain specialist. But what she does, and this is like, we're just excited because they just got married yesterday, is she looks at what happens to our brains, and brains for people of color, especially Maori, especially those that have historical events, like genocide. Duh! Genocide, when they try to genocide you, they throw smallpox, tuberculosis, TB, influenza, measles killed them. Captain Cook came over there, Columbus came here. Shoot, we should have just wiped those mofos out. But Amber, Joe's wife, she has been working with Joe, and we were just we know each other in social media, but we got to visit face to face. And it's just so touching because you could see her passion. You could see it in her eyes. You could see she was up against the same thing we are with our people, with suicides, fentanyl overdose, and Oxycontin and prescription drugs. But her and Joe, what they're doing in New Zealand is she no longer does one-on-ones, but she sets up the treatment program with culture, with smudge songs ceremony, and brings in the elders and gives the young, the young in sobriety and recovery addict access to elders. That makes me want to cry because, we just need to have our young people have access to elders, to sit with them, to listen to their stories, to laugh with them, to get teased. That's all we need. Get them off the goddamn gamer phone. Get them off the screen time and let put an elder with them, or bring them in circles, or bring them to ceremony. And so that's what Amber and Joe, they just saw. So they came over here with all of these other Maori who, man, can just got interested in Indian relay. Next thing we'll have Indian relay. Hear that? Natuapi, Saki, Carol Murray. Instead of going to Calgary Stampede, you'll be having Indian relay in New Zealand. It's like right on, like right, they're the coming together with the spirit of the horse. I guess that's why I'm so excited, because even, I'm still on my hiking kind of, I can't show you my Taomoko, of the Hidalgo on it, but it's healing to see other people of color, like the Maori, love the horses as much as we love horses here. So yesterday, so I wanted to just start off with, like, what is marriage? What is a vow? What is a commitment? And to another person, but what is a vow when you make a vow to stay clean and sober for your children? What is a commitment to breaking a cycle of drugs and alcohol in third or fourth generation? What happens when you break that cycle? Because I'll tell you, Native Dads Network, the American Indian Cancer Foundation, NAFA, Native Wellness Institute, we're breaking cycles. So, so this marriage, and I just want to share it with you because I felt the magic. There was Maori, and then there was Bob and Charlene performed the traditional marriage with a pipe, Blackstone pipe, with then a lot of their teachings are, we use sweet pine. And where I live right here, I'm just surrounded by sweet pine. So when I go out, all I smell is sweet pine. And it's one of our main Blackfoot medicines, that sweet pine. Katoyus, they call it Sweetgrass Hills, but that's all sweet pine. So they were, so when we went up, those of you, you're all invited if you're Blackfoot, and if you're Native, and if you're Indigenous, but if you aren't, stay away. We have a medicine wheel kind of going up the Chief Mountain, that the Wolfchilds and the Days of the Eni, Irvin Carlson, all of them, they built this medicine wheel with about 150 young people, rode horseback up with the offering. They sweat the offering. And then as they were sweating the offering, we built this medicine wheel. And that medicine wheel is Blackfoot, and it's powerful. Any one of us can go up there, put some tobacco down. Any one of us can go up there and say prayers for what's hurting us. Any one of us can go up there and take our relative who's young in recovery and have prayers for them. You're right, standing there before Chief Mountain and this medicine wheel, and that's where they got married. It was so beautiful. Of course, the wind was blowing. It was that kind of wind where your braids go like this. The wind was blowing like this, and they managed. Only Blackfoot can light a coal and make a smudge with the wind blowing like this. Charlene was trying to they got behind this one tree so they could kind of have a windbreak, and there was William Gladstone, and the wind was blowing like this. It said, "Join this umbrellas," and they were just like all. Anyway, they got that coal lit, and they got their smudge box, and I was just, but I guess I like doing that. We were just, it wasn't cold, but the wind was. And it's just something, because sapu, the sapu. And that's why, this weather's coming in. It's, I like Arlen Sharp. I just love our young men from Star School. He just said, okay, it snowed 6 inches. Okay, now you tourists, missed the foot. Get out of here. You're gone. And we love tourists, but it's like all of a sudden, this happens, snow happens, wind, and it turns to fall. And gosh, our equinox is September 22nd, so we're all moving towards, for us as Blackfoot, we equinox, solstice, new moon, full moon. We kind of really, a lot of our prayers and a lot of our life is on the cycle of the year. And that's how we stay good. That's how we stay good inside, is we get ready for fall. And then those I think my niece Christine was saying, well, now the choke cherries will, that first frost, and then all the choke cherries will be ready. There's still some Savis berries, Saskatoon, but most are are leaving it for the bears. We share our berries, and it's important that the bears get it. We've had sightings right here, right up above my house. Over here is a Boxiquea bear den. There's been sightings up by Bab, cattle baron, bear with their two cubs, so there's just it's that time of the season. So welcome to Wellness Wednesday, Native Wellness Institute. We're just bumping, and we are just fully loaded with healing training. And Jolene was just saying, we got to go to Ground Round, so she's going to pick me up. I was just like, yay, get to ride in the car with Jolene. Boy, you'll see some friction coming out, like when we get together laughing and planning and getting with I wish Jean Tagabon and Lavina, just the rest of our team would beat all together, because Native Wellness Institute, our mission is to keep the teachings of our ancestors alive, and that's what we concentrate on. So this topic of marriage, or this topic of to make a vow. Wow. Yesterday, the feeling between Joe and his wife Amber, and even the Maori, all her relatives, her nieces and nephews were with her. As they wanted to be, they were guests, so they're respectful. They let the ceremony happen in Blackfoot. And then when it kind of was coming to a close, then that's when they started singing the Maori songs. And when you're a guest in someone's land, you just don't come and do your culture. You hear that, you Europeans? When you're a guest, you just don't come and push things on. So such respect. And as the Maori woman, and she has her tamoko right here, because the tamoko, or the tattoo on the chin, that looks like this. That's exactly what was on her chin. But as she was singing, you could feel all her ancestors from New Zealand. And then the tamoko of what the men put on their face. And I didn't get to speak with him, but he's been giving everyone, all the Blackfeet's got a tamoko. They're all getting a tamoko, which is a blessing in itself, because this is on your right hand side is your male side, where you tell your story, and then on your left hand side is your female side, where you put a tamoko, a tattoo of your story. And the belief, and I know this because my healing, my sobriety, I'm not going to get undressed here, but when I lost my father in 2002, DJ Nahula and Sid Jackson, and they're kind of like the activists who took over Auckland, even took over where the Trump Towers were, and occupied it for 2 years, like we occupied Alcatraz. when I got this Talmoko, it helped me begin the grieving and the healing of losing my father and him going on to, we call it, to the sand hills. Dad used to call it Big Sandy. You know, when our spirit leaves here, it's free. Especially if you're in pain, you don't have no pain no more, like a cancer or anything like that. And your spirit goes to the sand hills. Just up that way, up that way. Cut over from Medicine Hat. If you cruise up from Cardston and Lethbridge, right up there in the sand hills, that's where all our ancestors are. And they're having a powwow right now. They're singing songs and they're dancing and they're eating red wieners. No, no, they're probably just eating some buffalo and some elk, and we were meat eaters. Real food was meat, and all the other food was not real food. So, but we do have rosemary cream medicine is a vegetarian, very successful. But I very few Blackfoots that are Blackfeet, Scapi Picani, Sixikai, Kainai, Butsa Picani. Very few that are vegetarians. So yesterday, the Ita Pisco, that presence that's in around here, you know, on this lower St. Mary's where I live, the island, Waterton, all of our that presence, you could feel it. And oh gosh, part of the ceremony, and is, you know, they had them take offerings. Sometimes, you know, the tobacco, and talk to the mountain and say they're in the mountain. We were witnesses, but it was like the mountain was the witness. And if you think about that, you know, when you make a vow, because some of, you know, a lot of Native Wellness Institute, we know a lot of you made a vow to yourself to stop using drugs and alcohol. I know a lot of Native Dads Network, they make a vow not to womanize. I know our team of men, they make a vow to keep Native women sacred, to keep LGBTQ two spirit sacred. And sometimes, you know, I was just trying to think, like, what about a vow to yourself? Self-care. But what about if you make a vow, and I see this in many who struggle with food issues, because food is very trauma and poverty. Food is an issue, but they'll make a vow not to eat a lot of sugar or a lot of gluten, you know, etc. Even though we like macaroni and cheese, you know, you can just have a portion, not the whole bowl. It's like to have a little piece of the cake, but not the whole cake. You can have a portion of the ice cream, but not the whole gallon of ice cream. But you know, Blackfeet, they're just big on everything. They just like, so this vow to yourself. We can vow, because yesterday, and just visiting with Amber, what I loved was that they loved each other so much, and her family raises dogs, and they have dogs, you know, and so there was one dog that was just ow tops, him a desky because he has a dog face, but there's this one dog that just don't behave, and so who adopts it? Joe Stone. She said it's the one he just loves this, and you know, I could just see that's a real nappy thing to do, you know, like, yeah, I don't want the perfect dog. I want the dog that, you know, has a pistol, eh? The dog that just goes along and is warrior like, imita. And so she was telling me the story, like, she said, yes, that is, we have to accept each other, and I guess I have to accept him having that dog. So remember, when you make a vow, not only do you have to accept the dogs, you have to accept if they have other children. You have to accept their family. And that vow is about, it's not just often two people making a commitment to each other. And it could be two people that are the same sex, because that is perfectly okay in America and all over the globe. So you have to, if they have children, then you have to have courting time and relationship time and trust building time. And but they were just mentioning, all their kids are grown, so they're enjoying life together, and they enjoy, so this vow. But gosh, it was they were nervous, and then we were nervous for them. Here they are, completely grown, and I'm not gonna. God, she was so beautiful, but over 50, and I know Joe is up there, but healthy. They're healthy, and they have a good life, but they were nervous, and I just had to cry at one point, because when you see two people who love each other so much and they have differences, the differences fade away. You just look for the common, what they have in common with each other, and what they have for good, and how that synergy, that love, creates more love. And you can see with all the witnesses, because all of the Maori that had attended, everybody was nervous for them. And when they finally, and of course Bob, I just love Bob Burns, he's the best. He can officiate marriages, so he has, it's like a laminated vow, and then they also got to say out loud their vow to each other. And when I heard, because there's the vows like "till death do you part," I said they're really serious. They're gonna stay together and love each other till and they said something like that, and I just started crying because she said, I will love you until my last breath. And it was something like saying, I will love you till my last breath. That's a vow. That's not, I'm just gonna love you on till January 1, till you go out and party or whatever. I'm just gonna love you, and making it conditional. That means it's unconditional love. It's love where you look at the conditions and you both work together on it. I don't know, I guess I'm still having just such good emotion. And I love this talking rain. And when you go to Canada, Costco, I always say, when you go there, your money's worth more, so you can buy a case of this, and then it's only like $15 American. Anyway, that's one of the advantages. So what about marriage and vows? I think sometimes when we declare our sobriety, sometimes when we declare that we're not going to smoke cigarettes anymore, or sometimes when we declare we're not going to gamble anymore, or other things that I appreciate Native Dads Network, because they all make a firm commitment to stop cussing. So all of the dignified, I just think of Cliff Moto, and I think of Albert Titman, and of course Mike Duncan, and Dean Hoagland. Oh my God, Dean Hoagland just married his love. They just had a marriage last week. Same thing, same. Till death do they part, but they're both in sobriety, and they both, when they're together, you could just see how they make each other grow as a person, grow in lateral kindness, and grow in forgiveness. And so, but that vow, when you decide not to hurt anyone, hurt people, and you decide never to belittle anyone, especially children. You decide not to use words to hurt anyone. That's a certain kind of vow. And remember that, I remember if they'd say, well, if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. But you should be able to verbalize. Learn to flip the coin and verbalize. You're worthy. You're brilliant. You're smart. You're fun. You're deserving. You're energetic. Just get a new vocabulary, punk ass. No. No, here I am. Bad. ASS. Get a new vocabulary where you can have words of encouragement, where you can have words that soothe people, where you can have words that are, telling them they are kind, telling them they are generous. And all the words that come out are healing words. It's just like my little crow granddaughter. I always just say, Jamie, I'm proud of you. And I just say I'm proud, just to say you're proud. She's always had a job. She's teaching at Hardin School. She's raising her brother's children. She's good to her mother. When you see a young woman like that make a vow to a good life, and the children that live in your house a vow that they have a good life, a vow that they have safety. So that, and that was, the marriage yesterday was like there was such safety. We had laughter. We all went up there, and and of course you need a 4-wheel drive, and then we were just like, well, yeah, these guys are horse people. I mean, they know that our land's kind of like, whoa. And it was just so cool because no one had like a little car was going to get, we would have got them unstuck, but we went up on Chief and on the plateau, and we went to the rock medicine wheel. And it was just such safety. I guess I'm going to use that word because sometimes we have to vow to make a safe environment. We have our home to be safe. I think of my home here. I carry 6 pipes. They're personal pipes. But, I think of my Ganax Demida rattles and my Kami Poismanix, my stand-up headdress. I try to keep my home safe. And so what I was taught is I don't let any negative energy in my home. I don't. So that means, no one half shot or violent or having those kinds of ideas. It's a safe place for sacred things. And yesterday it was a safe place just to put out a blanket, put their smudge box down, help with the wind, say the prayers, let them say a vow to each other. And then it was kind of like us being, like any ceremony, we were the witnesses of their vow. Because Blackfoots, we like witnesses to. You can't just declare like be Buffy Saint Marie. No. You can't just say Buffy Saint Marie. Just can't say Nistu Natsitapi. You can't just declare you're Blackfoot. You could pretend, and I want to. Gosh, the Maori and I were talking yesterday about pretend. They have pretend Maoris. I said, oh my God, we have pretend Indians. And anyway, that's maybe a whole new subject, but we had such similarities. And so yesterday when the vow was made, that's part of the vow is the Maori and the Blackfoot, the Blackfeet, Umskapi Pikani, because we were witnesses, there was just visiting, intense visiting, human to human. And then when I drove, it was getting late into the evening, and I needed to return home because in case I needed to make fire. Oh, good! I just got a message from Natua Pisaki. One of the things in making the vow to myself, and I'll just share a little bit out there is, I always have to clean off. When I give of myself and a conduit to healing, I always have to cleanse myself to refresh and to start over. And so when I always have Natua Pisaki paint my face, and that's, in Blackfoot, that's how we get cleaned off and we start brand new, like a brand new baby. She just messaged me, and because it's time, because I'll be going on the road again, doing lots of healing and fun things too. But she can just said that she can paint my face, so I'm happy. Because she's a busy person, but it's usually what it means, because we're just cousins. That means we get to spend the day together. We get to visit. And so let's talk about, there was fish and wildlife from all over South Dakota, all of the Nebraska. I think there was some from Alaska too. They were all meeting at the stick game arbor in town, and talk about vow. One of the things that they did because of climate change and because of our water, our fish, and our animals and our land, they brought in some of our elders. So it was so cool because they brought in Leonard Bastine and Audrey Bastine, and Leonard, and they're some of our elders, been working for 4 decades for the uplifting and the healing and the wellness of our families. And then they brought John and Carol, and so they were just winding down before we had the movie that the Maoris are, the 6-part series called Native Ride, and so we got to listen to them. And so I'm just looking forward to, because that's ever since the past 30 years since I moved home. Me and Carol, we were children together, and now we're I think she's 70 and I'm 68, eh? We're still like sisters. We still love we have a vow to each other. Wow. I just realized that. Even though she's my cousin, she's my sister. And maybe that's what a vow is. It's when you make a vow, you cherish each other. Kitsikako mem. Cherish. It's deeper than love. And when you cherish someone, you always got their back, and you always look out for them, and you always make it a safe place. And so I always, no matter what happens, it doesn't matter what job we have or whatever we're doing, we always talk to each other, especially in sign language. I noticed, because when she was up there, she's up there and they're on the panel and I'm in the audience, and because I was so happy because I gave her this really beautiful ribbon skirt. And Carol, it has 12 different colors, Anyway, she kind of made sign, to me, look, I have your skirt on, but we don't even have to say words. It's like telepathic. We're so close. We just talk to each other in sign language. And then, I'm just sharing with you what I've witnessed in this vow of marriage. And now I'm thinking the vow that we make to our paints. I was, one of our brother who has always helped, Leon Rattler. I think he has transfer rights to 17 earth paints. And then he was just describing, he was talking about Missoula. He was talking about where you can go get paint. And that, the women need to go get the paint and then it's gifted. I think about is those things, but that vow to the way of life. What about our vow to, I was just visiting with Dwight Francisco. And Dwight is one of our gathering of Native American trainers from the Tohono O'odham in the Southwest, but he's doing a lot of work. I think we're sending him up to Alaska. Just telling everybody he's going up there to do some healing. But Dwight was, when we were visiting, we always speed visit, or when we're working together, we have slow, long, philosophical conversations. And I was, so I asked him, because Dwight and I, this is like Carol and I, we have a vow, but Dwight he's been volunteering for a Medicaid treatment program. And the two people that got this treatment program going, it's kind of, anyway, they're operating with, they haven't been paid, and he volunteers because they believe in sobriety. They believe in recovery from a Native perspective. And so he was just talking about, he made a vow to this place, but it looks like it might be closing soon. And he said, so it'll open me up to have some time. And I said, well, when one door closes, another door opens. Remember that. When one door closes, another door opens. And so I said, well, Dwight, I'd really like to bring you down to Callie Webb's it used to be called Eastern Shoshone Recovery Program. And they've been going really strong for 25 years. They have Native recovery, John Orbley's there, Phil. They just have a wonderful staff. And so now Dwight will be coming down and we'll be doing a 2-day intense healing, Agona. And then they have their powwow, because September, so welcome to Wellness Wednesday. We acknowledge, September's recovery month. So even White Bison is going to be in Billings, Montana. Yay! And I'm just going, because I told Dwight, I said, I kind of want to just come down and almost be a participant and visit and hug everybody. I don't want to have to, anyway, organize. He goes, yeah, come on down. I go, it's only 6 hours for us. That ain't nothing. War Pony, just gas up. 6 hours ain't nothing. We just get on the road and go down to Billings and see all our White Bison friends, our Native Dads Network. We're all getting together because it's Recovery Month. Wow, what does recovery mean? Mike Duncan has every Tuesday, 6:30 Pacific time at 7:30 a.m. Mountain time, has his podcast on Native Dads Network. And one of, so kind of in our remaining moments, what if you made a vow to recovery? Whoa, that's big. Because a vow to recovery is you make a vow to change the not so good behavior. It's like I heard a really good saying. It says we call it behavioral health, but actually just switch it around. I think Holly Echohawk said this. It should be called healthy behavior. So in a vow to recovery, when you're in recovery, you make a vow to change. This week I was, I have a very special male friend, to be revealed later. But we ended up talking about recovery. We talk about recovery, and we were talking about the 8th step, in which you make a list of all those people that you have harmed. And then it's not just you just don't methodically go through. You evaluate because you don't want to reharm. So it's about making amends. And I was sharing with my friend. I said, I said in the meditation I read today, it said when we're making a list of the people that we have hurt, we should put ourself at the top of the list. And I knew and heard that, but I was just, so we need to make amends to ourselves. We need self-forgiveness for some of the ways that we behaved, especially when we were still using and drinking. I say as a woman, because when I, was a whiskey drinker, and when I was just, I call it being a punk, but when I was young and doing that, I cannot not even imagine what I put my mind, body, and spirit. And then physically, I mean, because when you're doing that, and I look at some of our young people today and how much the struggle and how much pain there is with that. So a vow to recovery is to change behavior. It's okay to look at the past, but don't stare at it. Just don't. They say, look at the past, evaluate the past, and then make the amends. And these are steps in recovery. So so Mike Duncan's talk, and we ally with Native Dads. He said we should just get up each morning, because sometimes I'll send him a message. Hey, Nipoka kid, I told him. That means wake up. Because sometimes I do wake him up to get on to do his podcast. But he said you should ask these two questions. And the first is this what I plan on doing, and what are my intentions? Like, this is to self. Is this going to enhance my well-being? And you could say your recovery. Or is this what I'm going to go to or be involved in? Is it going to squelch my recovery or squelch? And that's a good question. So that day when I was listening to him on Tuesday, which was yesterday, I had I had a difficult choice, because one of my other good friends just passed away, and it was his funeral. And he's older. He was almost 80. He'd lived a wonderful life. And so when I got up, I had been invited, Joe Stone the day before had invited us to this wedding, this vow, and then there was this funeral. And I think in the assessment, I'm just sharing with you, I had visited this friend when he was in the hospital, and we made peace. He let me pray for him in Blackfoot, and we made peace, and he couldn't speak anymore, but he was laughing with his eyes, and he made peace. And it was almost like when you make peace, you give them permission to go. Keep them. And so I had those two choices, and I listened to Mike, and I said, so then this is how I ask it. And I'm asking you, in your recovery, you should ask, well, what is going to make Theda happiest? Or, what is going to make Mike Duncan the happiest? Or what is going to make our family the happiest? And I slept on, I had slept on it. I went for a long walk, and I put out medicine, and then I came back and I went to the wedding. And I'm really glad that was a hard choice to make. But one of our elders I was speaking with this morning said you should always choose the living. Give the honor and the memorial to those that have passed on, that have died, but you should always choose the living. And I think that in my recovery, and I'm just sharing with you, in my recovery now, I'm making a vow to those that are living, those that are on top of the earth, not in the earth. And so in making that kind of commitment, But to be honest with you, I had some guilt that I didn't go to the funeral. And I'm sure everything went okay. But my mother, my wife's mother, mom's doing really, really good. She said, Nellie, that means when she says Nellie, because that's my middle name. She said, Nellie, sometimes the best time to go visit the family is after the funeral, because that's when you get really lonely for them. And that's so, to do the memorials. And so then I thought, well, okay, I'll give Paula some time and Doug and the kids and go visit them. Later on this week, or go by and check. I always check on them. We always checking on each other, And anyway, I was like, I like to go over there, and my nephews, they chop all my wood. I'm chopping wood. I'm gonna go chop some now because I think I'm gonna start a fire. But I like it when they come over here because, man, they can just chop all my wood. I got wood for 2 weeks. Plus, as an elder, I'm supposed to be asking them. And they said, just ask us, Auntie. Badass Auntie, come on, we'll chop your wood, because I still burn wood. I ordered all my propane. And just to give you an idea, in Montana, I ordered my 1,000-gallon tank filled and my 500-gallon tank of propane filled, because that's, once it snows here, you can't get down my driveway. They'll get stuck. So I have to order all my propane that will last till April. And that's just how you get prepared for winter. And then with traveling, I'm not burning wood. I only burn it when I'm home, so I'm just sharing that with you. So Native Wellness Institute, I hope we've given you some stories, because often, I share stories with you. And today it was about what kind of vows we make when we're marrying someone, what kind of vows and commitments when we birth a child, the vow we give to that child. And then I guess in this remaining time that we have here, I'd like to talk just a little bit about what kind of vow do we make to our ancestors to keep our ancestors' legacy alive. It's our birthright to thrive and to live in joy. But what do we do to keep our ancestors alive? Their legacy. And what is their legacy? So often we know their legacy when stories are passed down. This is what great grandma did. This is what great grandpa did. Down to our parents and down to us. So if your legacy, and you've been gifted, is to embrace songs, to know songs, and to keep songs, to be a song keeper, then you should keep that legacy alive. If the legacy is their generosity of giving, of not only material things, but of their time and of their encouragement and their helping others, then that is how you keep that legacy. I was visiting with Wind River this morning, and we were talking, I was talking with John Oberly about, I said, if you go to the prisons at Deer Lodge here and the women's prison, there's a legacy in our families of people being in prison. So maybe you could break that cycle, knock it off, don't go to prison. Quit being a criminal, quit embezzling. Knock that off and don't go to prison. Or, if you help those when they get out, help them, bring them back into the community in a good way, and in their recovery, help them. But this legacy, so I always, part of our, we got, I guess my humor, and even smiling and laughing all the time, That's a legacy of my ancestors. Man, I can hear my Uncle Gerald's laugh. I can hear my Uncle Buster's laugh. I can hear my Aunt Carol's laugh. I can hear Aunt Melinda's laugh. I can hear my parents laugh. And then because I could see how the uncle used to say, life is too short to be anything but happy. He'd say, forgive quickly. And he used to always say, he'd say, kiss slowly. He'd have these sayings in his legacy, and he would, when people were telling him a sad story, he'd just look at him, and then he'd laugh and go, "Well, what you gonna do about it? What's the solution?" Well, what's the solution? Instead of whining and crying and being a victim all the time, what's the solution? Anyway, so this legacy. So think about that, and we'll kind of leave you with that thought. And in wellness, the teachings of our ancestors. What legacy are you keeping alive? What legacy? I love when I look at some people's posts and their dance outfit looks like their parents' dance outfit, or their, when they get transferred, they have designs from their family, or they're when they're making moccasins, when they're making backrests. Man, I tell you that Kadat, man, she's making some hella. They are beautiful backrests for in our lodges. But what if their legacy is breastfeeding? And some powdered milk. What if their legacy is hunting? My crazy ass cousin, I just love Craig Falcon. He's already got his bows ready to go bow hunting. And now, the legacy, our hats off to Dizital and Colville Reservation, because they were hunting on the Canadian side, and it went all the way to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court in Canada said, if it is your traditional land, you can hunt. So now Craig's like, we can hunt now, Bert. So if you see all these Blackfeet coming up and hunting all your deer and your elk and your buffalo and hunting your freezer, just laugh. That might be the legacy. Knowing the hunting songs, knowing we were hunters. There's such pride. It is. I think it opens like September 15th. But here, hunting, fishing, Craig's always, he'll fish and bring the fish by and give it to my mom. And my mom just talk about making an elder happy, having fresh caught fish, and that legacy of what you get, you give it away. What you hunt, you give it away. All those blankets you get, you give it away. All that medicine, you give it away. That's the legacy. One of back in where the San Francisco Bay Area, that happened is they always grow their own sweetgrass because they live in the city, and they have 3 harvests. And one of my mom's friends was saying that they just harvested a bunch of their sweetgrass. So she's part of the legacy. She said, I'll be sending your mom some braids to pray with. And they're, part of, I guess one of the things, and I'll declare it, in my family still writes letters. I mean, this is my mom's letter writing friend, and they write letters like 5 to 10 pages letters. They rather than, it's not talk, it's just part of their bond and their vow. And so my mom doesn't, she used to like phone calls. She still does, but she likes letters. So I was thinking, I should, even though I talk to my mom every day, I should write her a letter. I should write her a letter of gratitude. Thank you for putting up with me. Thank you for breastfeeding me. Oh yeah, thank you for giving me life. Oh yeah, thank you for keeping good food coming across that umbilical cord. Oh yeah, thank you for wiping my ASS when I was all messy until I got out of diapers. Thank you for feeding me. Thank you for grabbing me, not running across the street. Thank you for not letting me fall in the frozen lake. Just write a letter to your parents. Write a letter to somebody and thank them for what they have given you. That's part of a legacy. Wow. Okay, now I'm gonna write a letter to my mom. Because she loves getting letters in the mail and it makes her so happy. She loves reading real newspapers and it makes her so happy. So I think that I have to act on that. But you've been listening to Wellness Wednesday, Native Wellness Institute. You can go to YouTube and type in Native Wellness Institute. Our whole team is on there on any subject. You can go to www.nativewellness.com and request any kind of training from any of our team. You can request from me. And so I'm just going to send out that synergy. And Tasha Hubbard. Anyway, Tasha Hubbard, if you're there, Kitsikako Mim, we will connect soon. And I'm going to let you go for today. We on for an hour, and we're always positive, productive, and proactive. So with that, good enough Wednesday. I'm going to build me a fire right here. And I'm just going to go on, and we'll see you next Wednesday.